It's my pleasure to present you Alessia Sonaglioni. She's in charge of, as you probably see in the program, in charge of Eurimages series that still is a pilot. And at the end, maybe we're going to do a kind of a spoiler to you that is very interesting for the future. And as in a festival, this sofa is comfortable, like you know, in a festival, doing a podcast. I prefer to do it like that. Maybe the cameras are going to kill me. Let's have Alessia, as I said, 5 minutes for media, and then we go with you, because the superstar is Alessia, not me. You're professionals. You know that Creative Europe has desks all over Europe, and you can inform you about where the money is regarding television. It's TV and online programming. TV online programming, first of all, raise your hand. Probably it's very stupid, but you know media program, isn't it? Yes. Then, TV online programming is the richest call of support. Later on, Elena will introduce some study cases where we have some 2 successful out of 3, or 1 out of 3. No, yeah. Yeah, it's 1 Eurimages to TV online programming. We'll see. Let's say the perfect formula to get TV online programming, and I have just 4 minutes to do that. It's first of all to have the 40% in place at the time of application. That 40% in place has to be from third parties, cannot be your own money. Third parties could be anything. Public money, could be a television, could be a minimum guarantee, could be a sales agent, whatever in the collection of stakeholders along the road. More things. It's important, the definition of European. At this point, for media, it's quite different in different countries, but for media, has to be European financially and artistically. So 50% of your project, in a scale of 19 points, 10 out of 19 points, has to be European. Financially, money, or out of the financial plan, 50% money from Europe, and 50% cast and crew. But everything is in the calls. More things, you cannot start shooting before dropping the application. And then you can get the plane takes off after you send the application. More things, yes, of course, this is the match point that makes you a perfect file. It's to have the 2 broadcasters and own platforms at the time of application as part of that 40% that you have to be in place, signed, that they're going to be or co-producing or broadcasting your project. And this is the difficult place, because you have to deal with different kind of stakeholders that they protect basically their audiences. And it's not easy to fight for a license of a minimum 7 years or 10 years, depending if they're playing the role of broadcaster and or co-producer. So pay attention to that, because this is the match point that the more channels you have, if you're a documentalist, the more chances you have for media. And you need for sure to have to go through those agreements to be perfect at the eyes of media, because the goal of the media is the circulation of the works, audiovisual works. This is more or less the perfect recipe. I have more news for you for the animation and documentaries. For 2026, they reserve budget for you. 8% and 25%. 25% for animation, 8% for documentary. It means, and it's good, because you don't have to fight with the fiction, where usually France and Scandinavia are coping the best places. That's all. If you need more, you know where I am. You have all desks around Europe. And now it's time for Alessia, because that's the good thing, because it's a pilot, and we start for that. It's compatible with media, isn't it? So, and now the question, how many of you they are familiar with Eurimages theatrical? Raise your hand. Yes, of course. So, it's not exactly the same. First question, which is the difference between being state member or state participant in Eurimages series?
So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me here, Alex. It's a pleasure. I'm here again in Barcelona, and also I'm very happy to be with Serielizados for the first time. So for those who are familiar with Eurimages, we are functioning a bit differently, because we don't have all the member states that are taking part into the film fund. Because we started as a pilot program, so pilot, you can imagine what it means. So we have now reached the number of 21 member states into the series program, which means that if you are established in one of those member states, Spain is one of those, you can apply to the program. Then the structure of your co-production doesn't require that both co-producers are established in those 21 member states. The second co-producer could be established in the larger Eurimages family. This seems a bit complicated, but it's really linked to the financing of the pilot. So we have been running 3 years now. It's going to be extended for another 2 years, pending...
The spoiler came.
Yeah.
We have already 26, 27.
Yeah, but this is pending reflection on how to make it like more stable. Yeah, so what can I add, Alex? It's complementary, of course, to media, because this is also a legend going on. So we need to insist that it's totally complementary with the Media TV online program, and it has been clarified. So it's, you can apply to us, you can apply to media before or after, but also for us, you apply when you are already close to the shooting. You can do a pre-shooting. We accept up to 50% before the deadline for application for fiction, up to 80% for docuseries, but the principle is that you have not started the production.
It is an important difference with media, okay? It's very similar to theatrical. The Eurimages allows you for calendar purpose to start production. And now, if you ask me, not from the point of view of a bureaucrat, but the point of view of a producer, the normal question is how much? How much I can get?
Yes.
How much I can think about it?
Since we started with the pilot, this is also like simpler than it is in the Eurimages Film Fund. So you can apply for a lump sum. So it's an established sum of either 500K or 250K. And this should not represent more than 25% of the budget of one season. So we support one season. Now we are reflecting on the possibility to add another layer, like having a third possibility of a smaller sum, because we have realized that especially for docuseries, the 250,000 in some cases, especially in low-capacity countries, might be like too big, and this would make project not eligible from the outset. But this will be announced by the end of this year. It's not decided. But anyway, for the time being, it's 250 or 500. It is a subsidy. So again, for those who are used to Eurimages, we don't have an advance on receipt. So yeah, and it's paid 75% upfront at the signature of the grant agreement, and then 25% at the end of the production, when you provide like evidence that the series is done and broadcast, and then we have all the paperwork done. I must say that it's working pretty well. So we are now really closing some of the projects that were supported in 2023. So we have it's a lineup of 22 projects supported so far. So all the projects are in the making or being already made. So this is also for us a success for a pilot. So we were also coming with the DNA from cinema. So for us it was also new. I mean my team, and we are very happy also that this is really going smoothly. And we try to be also as flexible as possible, knowing that producers are encountering also all kind of unforeseen and as it is, I mean, always in production, but it's a different setup, I would say, compared to cinema. And yeah, and we are having today a case study, one of the projects that was supported, and there is more to come. So in terms of maybe genre, we are supporting, yeah, it's like media, fiction, animation, and...
Can I do a pop-up, publicity
yeah.
pop-up? Eurimages series are trying to be sexy as media TV online programming because it's a subsidy. So remind that it's a subsidy, which is Nice. That's it. I close the pop-up. Yes, regarding the genre, you want to say?
So we support animation, docuseries and fiction. We don't have an allocated budget, but in terms of objectives of the program, I mean, we select based on the selection criteria. It is also a point system, but then we need to make sure that there is a balance between the genre, but also geographical balance, because the purpose of this program is really cultural diversity. This is the focus of the program, and supporting the independent producers. These are the two core objectives, main objectives of the program. So that's where we expect a co-production.
It's nice to point out this focus different between Brussels and Strasbourg, Eurimages and media, because it's kind of in the core of what is behind. And I have a project. What I need minimum to present at the time of application in order to be eligible. You know that you have to have a certain percentage, certain documents, depending if it's fiction or... Go ahead.
So, you need to be an independent producer, co-producing with another independent co-producer in one of those countries that I indicated, so established in one of the contributing countries and co-producing with any of the larger Eurimages geographical scope. So as a producer, you need to have at least 10% of the ownership of to the finished work in the applicant, on the applicant side, and 5% on the co-producing side. You need to have attached a broadcaster or a streamer established in your country for fiction. For documentaries or animation, it can be any broadcaster or streamer established in one of the larger geographical scope. In the co-producing country, we expect you to have a confirmed financing source, which might be either broadcaster, streamer, but also we accept private equity, we accept public funding, of course, and we accept also tax credit confirmed. Overall, when you apply, you need to have 60% of the financing in place, so which is a bit higher than what you expect in media, but it's not territorialized, because in Eurimages Film Fund, you need to have 50% in each territory. We expect 60% in overall, so you can have a higher level of confirmed financing, for instance, in the main co-producing country. There we are a bit more flexible. We don't expect to have a maximum and minimum in terms of financing, because it's still not regulated by bilateral treaties, with few exceptions. So you don't have to have 90-10 in terms of percentages of ownership and financing. This might change in the future, because we are also negotiating a convention. But for the time being, we expect that you have in the co-producing country at least one of those financing confirmed, but it could be also very tiny. We focus more on the ownership of the copyright. Then we don't finance financial co-production, so you need to demonstrate that there is an artistic and technical cooperation. We call it creative collaboration, and this is counted also with the point system, and it's part of the evaluation. So it's not only an eligibility criteria, but then we go really into the details of what is the level of this collaboration. So, I mean, you would score more if you have more equal teams, even independently from the financing contribution. So this is to encourage, because it's also the purpose of the program, to stimulate the creative collaboration.
Eligible costs, because always is about the money and what I can put there.
Yeah, so we have, this is also different from the Eurimages, so it's not as free money as Eurimages money, so it's a subsidy, which is already a bit different, but you need to indicate from the outset where you will spend the money on, and this will follow the project until the audit of the final cost. So you need really to demonstrate on what you have, and there are some criteria for the eligibility of costs, but it's, I mean, the main principle is that costs incurred after the deadline for application. So the development costs are not eligible, so it's really production costs. And we check that at the eligibility stage and then when we sign the grant agreement.
Which is great, because the study cases we'll want to check later, right after, and they got development for media, which is it's great to combine both sister programs. But now, to me, it's quite important, because always the producer, it's when they are confronting, the producer always is really conscious about they have a good project, but they want to design the perfect financial architecture for every project. And not always is easy, because there's other elements they cannot control. But always they're really concerned about how it's not what I can do for my project, how I'm going to be judged, which is the evaluation process. Because in media it's clear, it's 100 points, 70 it's the quality, and then who knows who is in the other side every year at random that checks the projects. But how it works in Eurimages series?
So we work also with the point system. We have also the 100, and we have 6 criteria. We work with external experts. So far we have used the same experts. Like for the 3-year pilot program, we want to have like a stable set of external experts. So it's a 5-member evaluation committee. Now for the extension, we have to pick up new experts. These are people really coming from the industry. The evaluation is done project by project, as I said, so with the point system, and then we have an envelope, and the allocation of the money is done really top down. The only possible adjustment is done if we realize that the target of having geographical diversity and this balance between genre is not matched, which I would say was achieved even without, we didn't have to do arbitration at the end of the day during these 3 years, and so it was, but it's also still in a pilot, it's also a pilot program, so this worked quite smoothly. To be honest, we had really good projects, so at the end of the day, it was also difficult to give, like to, as I think for the experts was difficult to have really the best project is this one. It's the result of the combination of all these 6 evaluation criteria, which are artistic quality, level of collaboration. We have one criterion which is the coherency and solidity of the financing plan. We have strategy for gender equality and diversity in the project. We have a sustainability criterion and potential for distribution criterion. So it's really a combination of those with quality of the project, which is a bit stronger, like is giving more points than the other criteria.
And now I go for the match point of media, that it's really crucial in media because it's a huge program. It's about the license period. You are not really picky on that, or not at all. That's what makes the thing more relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, this was a big discussion when we started the program, whether we should, of course, we know the media program, whether we should require also this licensing limit. We didn't, knowing that in some countries that are part of the program, this is still a bit difficult to negotiate with the broadcasters. So we decided to not to have this requirement and to see what happens also in practice when we are supporting the projects. What do we have in the contracts with the broadcasters? The idea was to keep it as open as possible as a program, and so for the time being it stays without this limit, but I cannot anticipate where this could evolve. For the time being, there is no intention to put any limit, so it's yeah.
Maybe because living inside the world of media, because for media the magical word is the cross-border appeal, while in Eurimages is the cultural value. isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. So that's where we didn't put the focus on that. We put more on the cultural
Yeah,
side.
sometimes, always I'm trying to say to the producers that even the money goes to the production budget. The goal is that the project will be seen by a wider audience. That's why. I have a question that it's limited in media, the 70 pages and the creative dossier and blah, blah, blah. It's which materials, in order to be sexy to you, I have to.
I mean, it's more or less the same bureaucracy, I would say. So we expect to have, of course, the artistic material, which is the script of a one episode, the Bible. We have the financing part, so financing plan with the confirmation of the financing sources attached. We have tried to simplify also the application process. You fill in an application form already on a platform, and then you will need to attach like the CV of the cast and crew, and then we have a budget, so it's and we ask now to detail this gender equality and diversity strategy for the project, as well as the sustainability policy. Again, for the project. This I would recommend those who are applying to our program really to stay on the project, not to say, oh, our company, I mean, it's very well that we can read that the company is doing a lot on sustainability, but then the project is assessed as such. It's not an assessment of the company, it is assessed on the really the specificities of the project. And this was also because at some point we had to review our guidelines, and there was a feedback on that it should be really focused on the project. Otherwise, I mean, we are not assessing the company, what the company is doing. Same with gender equality. Because the company will say, oh, but we have half of the team, 60% of the team, la la la. So, but then it's really what is in this specific project. It might be that the project is not really focusing on diversity, but that's also, it happens. I mean, but it shouldn't be vague. Otherwise, it's impossible to assess it. So, for the rest, we didn't encounter many problems with the application. Like producers, I think so far they're very much used to preparing big application for media as well. The difficulty was to communicate on these eligible costs. So whenever there is a problem, we are very flexible and helping the producer to amend it. And then now we are closing the projects. On the closing, it's a bit more tricky. But this was always the case. So we need to be very pedagogical, and the producers are always in a rush because they are on the next project, but that's, yeah.
I was going to say that somehow media looks like hell and Eurimages series looks like heaven, but not in the next question. Media since 2021 has something that it's very difficult to get the support of media, but justifying it's a little bit more flexible with work packages and deliverables. It means that they don't need to see your invoices, even though you have to keep them. But how a producer has to justify not the reimbursement, because it's a subsidy, but how to justify that the work has been done?
No, we ask for an audit from an external auditor. That's it. So now the
hell and heaven change place.
Yeah. But now the difficulty for us, what we are seeing right now, is this notion of eligible costs. That I mean, the auditor should say, okay, the costs were really covered by the support. But we try to improve also our communication, because I think we were not also clear in the way we communicated this. So this is the advantage also of a small, still in pilot phase, that we can improve very quickly what we are doing. And because at the end of the day, we serve the production with this scope of cultural diversity. We are not there to make everybody's life difficult, but still it's public money, so we need to make sure that it's spent on the purpose that was announced. So Yeah, so this is maybe something which I forgot to say is that contrary to Eurimages, the support is allocated to the applicant's company. So then, of course, the support can be spent also in the co-producing country, but the recipient of the support is the applicant's company. And even on the financing plan, our support appears on the applicant's financing. Yeah.
And now, ding, 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 the last question. It always is, I'm obliged. I am not going to create you any trouble. It's, according to your experience of these years and your experience, long experience in theatrical, do's and don'ts for the next call of Eurimages series.
Oh, do and don'ts. Make sure that you have a creative collaboration, that it's not only on paper, because of course we evaluate eligibility, so the project might on paper be eligible, but then we have seen situations where it can get complicated to really double check whether there is this creative collaboration, so make it solid on that side. We are not supporting financial. And also make sure, this is very important for some countries, another thing I forgot, so thank you, Àlex, that the applicant company should be the initiator of the project. This has been a big discussion, so who is the initiator? The initiator of the project is the producer that is signing with the creators, and it's crucial because we were confronted with projects that were coming from countries which are not part of the program, and producers, in some cases, defended that they were co-developing, which might be the case, but for us, what we evaluate to establish who is the initiator or the co-initiator, we can accept, is really who is engaging the creators, so signing the contracts, actually, and where is the money going. If the money paid to the creators is coming from another country, we will evaluate as not being the initiator of the project. So this might happen in situations where, especially in smaller countries, we are aware that it might be difficult to get development money in those countries, but we still stick to this logic because I mean, we need to respect the fact that our program is financed by a number of countries, and the idea is that the money goes to the producers of those countries. So the day we will have all the countries, who is the initiator of the project won't be necessary anymore. So
that's all in our side. So I want to hear a big hand of applause for a superstar, Alessia.